starting the recording. Okay, so I'm starting the recording. So I'm in this EC2 instance creation step. Probably you would have really seen all these things all the way up until now. So we can select an existing storage group. We don't need to really create a new storage group. So I'm just going to take this one with the, because all I need at this time is port 22 only. I'm not going to do any website or anything. So I'm doing a review of this. I'm going to launch it, and I'm just using the existing keeper. I'm not going to create a new keeper, and I'm going to launch my instance now. Okay, so instances will be launching. So I'm going in here, EC2. So the instances, I think the instance should be coming up anytime. What happened? Okay. Okay. So the instance is running now probably. Okay. So the instance is running here, right? So this instance is launched now. So this is the public IPv4 address. This is what we have seen that, normally how we connect to any server, right? So now I am in my folder. This is where my lab keeper, the PEM file is there. So I'm logged into the server, right? So now what I am going to show you is, see, there is one command that we run. This actually says that what are the volumes, EBS volumes here. As you would have seen, we created what we call as a root volume that really comes with this particular name as XVDA. So this is a root volume. I will actually tell you, there is one other thing that actually tells in Unix. There is a command called df. When you say df, it really says what are all the file systems that are normally there. When you create a Linux server, it really comes with some of the default file systems. But as you can really see, many of these are temporary file systems, but you have only one file that is coming directly from a volume, and that is actually your slash, which what they call as a root file system. Okay, so now what I am going to do, I will have to really create some additional file systems. If I have to really create additional files and additional file systems, then in that case what I need to do is, I need to, like I mentioned in this particular diagram, I need to create, see, as an example in lab example, I need to create EBS, an EBS volume, and from that particular volume, I need to really mount that volume, to various mount points. And in that mount point or a folder, I have to really make sure that that folder is mapped to that particular SAN storage device. So let me now, what I want to do is, I really want to go through these steps, on how we will create, okay, all these things. So first thing, as a first step in doing that is, I need to create an EBS volume. So how do I create the EBS volume? Here, if under your EC2 instance tab itself, if you go to the left side, you have this particular option called Elastic Block Store. Under that you have volumes. So click on volumes, then it really allows you to really create all these volumes. So what I am going to do, I'm going to get rid of any volumes that are currently being used by other instances. Okay, so let me see if there is these volumes are attached to any servers currently. Okay, so this volume is attached. I cannot do anything with this.
Wait, how do you know if it's attached or not?
No, no, it says that, see, it says that attachment information. It is attached. It is what it's,
Okay, okay.
okay. So I have to figure out maybe, except the root volume, I will actually detach these volumes. Okay. I don't want them. I just want to get rid of them. Okay. So I will detach. Okay. Or let me do one thing. I think there is something, since probably I created the same server with the same name, it is probably thinking something. So I'm going to go and okay, this server is already in stopped status. Okay. So let me do this. I will terminate this instance. I don't want this. This was a old instance. Terminated. Okay. So here now if I go there, I am pretty sure those volumes should be available right now. See, this is the new server I created. That volume is in use. The other root volume is gone. These two are available, but I'm going to just delete those volumes. I don't want them. Okay. So I just deleted them. Okay. So I have only one volume right now. So I'll now create a volume. See, there are very free limits are low. You can only create a 30 GB free limit. So please be mindful of the size that you are creating. Okay. So, you go to key and then a value that you will associate here is, say, I'm just saying EBS vol1. Okay. So I'm creating this volume. I created that. And now let me refresh it. Okay. Okay, so the EBS vol1 is created. See, normally it will really say that it is not attached. So the instant state will be available. I will create two volumes. So I actually I can really show you like how I can, the same example of what we are seeing, how that comes across, we will be able to say that. One important thing that we need to consider here is, this is something that I will go back and check as well. When you create a volume, for it to be attached, it needs to be in the same availability zone. So this is very important. I need to go back and check. So my server, this particular server is running in US East 1A. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I am creating the volumes also in US East 1A. So, so this volume is also created in US East 1A itself. So I'm good. So now I'm going there and creating a 12 gig volume, and I am actually creating the same again in US East 1A itself. I am adding a tag and I am calling this as EBS vol 2. So I am creating this volume. The volume is created successfully. Not yet. Yes, the volume is created successfully. So now what I am going to do is I am going to attach these two volumes to the server we created. So I'm going and saying that attach volume. This attach volume is the one that actually establishes a connection between this particular. So you need to listen to this particular component, this particular part very clearly. When I attach volume, this attach volume action actually connects um, this volume with the EC2 instance. But for the volume to be usable, we need to prepare certain things, certain additional steps before the volumes actually can be seen as folders. So please walk through this, watch the steps very carefully. so that you are able to really understand how they are done. So I am attaching it now. Okay, as you see, it really says something called /dev/sdf. Maybe next time when I do it, I will actually show you a little, closely. So actually, as you can see, the state has been changed to in use. Okay, maybe let me also show you. As you see attachment information, you see /dev/sdf, right? This sdf you will be able to see in the server. Now I will go back to the server and I will show you. See, remember we ran this lsblk command. When I really remember the lsblk command, you see xvdf, right? Here it says sdf. So there is the AWS representation is sdf, but when it comes to Linux, the way it will display that particular same name is, instead of yes, it will put xv, because this is something like it really says that xv, it's the Linux terminology. It will really says that yes, it is the volume. It's a logical volume. Okay, so that is how it looks at it. The other way to really look at it is, if you really want to say you want to really look at it, is I go to okay, sorry. See, as you okay, so here I'll see, as you can see SDA and SDF. You are able to see this /dev SDA SDF. Are you able to see this? You can hear me okay, right? Soundarya, Nandita?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are seeing that /dev/SDA and SDF. I think that the problem is the blue color text is not clearly, probably may not be visible that much, but you can actually see in this particular path. But when the DF displays it, it will display as XVDF and XVDA. So that is how it will display. But the point is, this particular disk has already been attached to the server. As you can see, now it is attached. Okay, so now I am going to attach the second volume also to the same server. Okay, so it is going to be attached as SDG. Okay, so as you see, it really says that Linux kernels will rename it, this one, XVD, XVDF through XVDP. So that is how it will rename. The kernel will rename this. Okay. So as you can see right now, you see XVDF is a 10 gig disk, and this is a 12 gig disk. Exact same way how we have really done in AWS. It gets reflected here also. Okay. So now I am going to go and really look at my DF. I would still have the same directories because I added the disks, but they are still not usable by me, because the disk, on this particular disk, there is no file that is running. As another thing that you should really see here, see, I am going to, if I can really put something like df-k, it will say in this particular, okay, I think that there is no file system here. As you really see, XVDA1, these many number of 1K blocks are there, these many are used. So which means that there is some operating system files that are currently hosted in this root volume. So it is taking up some storage, and 18% of the storage so are being used, and this much is the available storage. You will not see anything like that for these disks, XVDF or XVDG. This 10 gig and 12 gig will not be listed by the operating system. For that to be listed by the operating system, I need to really, make this particular storage, to be, usable way. So how am I going to make it usable? There are a list of steps that we need to perform. Okay. So what are those steps? We will go through that. So the number one thing that I need to do is, hold on. Okay. So what I will do is, this is one command that we run in Linux. So the XVDF, as you can see, this is a 10 gig file system. So this 10 gig file system, I am going to format this. So this make file system will actually format this disk. Oh, okay. I think I need to become it says that permission is denied. So I need to become a root user to execute this command. Okay. So I am copy pasting the same command and executing this. So now the file system is created. So one second. File system is created. So now the file system is created. What I am going to do is, the next thing that we know, even though the file system is created, the volume is empty, it is just formatted. So if I put a df right now, you will still not see that. Okay. There is no file system that is created. What you need to do is, you need to perform an action called mount. So first what I am going to do is, I'm going to create a directory. Let us call this directory as folder1. Okay. Now I need to mount this particular folder. So in order to do that, I will really execute another command. What I will do is, I am actually taking this XVDF and mounting it on folder1. So now I do df-k. As you can see, the folder1 with the 10 gigabyte, you now see this. There is a 1% because there is some minimal content that will be there in the folder. Now this folder is there. But let us actually go into this folder1 now. You will not see any data, right? So now there is only a default file system will be there, which is lost and found. The operating system uses it for some purposes, for recovery purposes. So now I can really, create or create any kind of a file here, and accordingly, the number of files. So let me create a test file. Okay. So in this, so touch is a command that will create a file. So now I can go and edit this file. I'm just typing some random text, so do not worry about that, because all I want to do is I really want to populate some content. So it can be anything, it can be random. So now, because as you can see, in the last time when we did 36,888, this is the used space. Now let me try to do that. You see that there is a minor increment, 36,892, because I made a very tiny small file. So there is a 4 kilobyte of storage is taken. So this is how storage actually works, what I have really demonstrated to you real time. Now let us try to attach the second volume also, so we can really complete this particular portion of what we are trying to do. So I am actually now creating this for the second file system as well. Okay. So now the file system is created, right? Now I will actually do the same thing of creating a folder and then mounting it. Now I am going to create a second folder. Okay. and then perform the mount action on the second folder. So I'm taking the device G and mounting it. Now, if I put df, as you can see, a second folder got created, folder 1, folder 2, right? So as you can see, the one number of 1K block C, this is 8 gig and this is 10 gig and this is 12 gig. So now you have this end-to-end mapping. So this is how your block storage works. You have seen that we created a server, we mounted the block storage, which in AWS we call it as EBS. That EBS is mounted on this particular server. You are able to mount them as directories, and under those directories you can create files. And you have seen that as and when you create files, the storage also gets consumed. So hopefully I explained how the storage works here. So if there are any questions, I can take it, or we can really go to the next. We can create our file storage and then the object storage. I mean that portion of the lab. Okay, probably I'll take it as yes, and you can also watch the recording. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going as a next step. I'm going to go now, since we have seen this, and if you want to reference it back, we can actually do the same this thing. So I'm going to exit out of this server now, and what I'm going to also do is I'm going to stop this particular server, and here also what I will do, I will okay, I'll go to these instances and I'm going to stop this server. As of now, I'm going to stop this instance. So it is not really using any, it is not taking any cost. Then what I am going to do is I am going to really create another. Now we'll go to our EFS, which is the second use case, file storage. So how does a file storage works? Let us look into that. So in order to create a file storage, we need to use this EFS. So you go to EFS, right? So I already have one EFS here created. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. So this should be deleting. So still it is available. Okay, it is saying deleting. The action is still not completed. Okay, now it is deleted. Okay. I have to create this file system. See, this is a straightforward default creation, quick creation option is also available, but I'm going to use the customize so that I can create it properly. When you create this, you can, it is better to give a name. So I'm just saying that my EFS 01, something like that. And then the tags, I will also create a tag. Okay. So I go here. See, there are security groups we need to create. So these security groups, I don't, it will really typically ask you to create in each availability zone. I don't think that I need to create in each of the availability zones. So what I am going to do is I'm going to create a security group. I'm going to come back to this particular option after creating the security groups. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go into the EC2 dashboard again. So I have security groups. I'm going to delete some of the old security groups, which I no longer need. Okay. So, so I'm going to delete some of the old security groups. Okay. Okay. So I deleted. What am I going to do is, let me also clean up one particular instance that probably, let me see. C2 instances. There are only 2 instances. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I deleted some security groups. I will delete this and this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to create security group. I'm going to just create I'm just creating a very blank security group, not adding any inbound rule at this particular time. So I'm just creating it. So this security group has already is created. So what is a security group? Security group basically, like we have seen, we also have seen yesterday in our web server creation example, it will allow access to our servers. So that is what it is. Right now, I have just created a blank security group without any kind of inbound rules access. It's not going to have any effect. We need to complete one more step and then do it. So I will really, just follow the entire process so you can understand. And I think in the meantime, we only have 3 minutes in the meeting time. So we'll go as far as the Zoom allows us to conduct this meeting, then we can resume. So I'm going and trying to create a file system here. Again, going through the same steps. Okay. So what I am going to do is, I don't want security group in all of the availability zones. So I am deleting some of them. You can choose to keep everything itself, but I am just for the purpose of it. So I am choosing all EFS security groups here. All 3 availability zones, I will have EFS security group. Okay. So I say next. Okay, it says I'm going to remove everything. Okay, so I don't need them. Okay, so you can leave this blank. You don't need to really put any policies here, and those are slightly advanced topics. So now you create it. Now this will be creating a security group. Sorry, this will be creating an EFS file system. So it is created and available now. Now I told you, this EFS file system means it's an elastic file storage, and it is really shared by 2 different servers. So how are we going to share it? So I need to, it is less than a minute. So I think I'm going to stop sharing right now and stop the recording also. I will open another session. I know that normally I try to restrict it to 90 minutes, so we have another 20 minutes when we resume. So I'm going to stop sharing, and maybe we will run this example. If we don't have time today for S3 object storage, in the next class we can cover S3 object storage. Okay, I'm stopping to share now. And let's rejoin. I will send a new invite because it is less than a minute. Okay.